Hello fellow internet dweller, this is Lego Jackman, and in this video I'm going to be showing you the Lego Power Miners Aero Shredder. Now this is not an official Lego set, but it is an official Lego combination of two official Lego sets. This set combines set number 8960, the Thunder Driller, with set number 8958, the Granite Grinder. If you wanted to get this combination build back in 2009 when these sets released, it would have been a total of $40 to get both the Granite Grinder for $10 and the Thunder Driller for $30. But now if you want this, of course you can just part it out because it does have some extra pieces that you don't need if you just want this instead of having the two Thunder Drill and Granite Grinders. Or if you want it today used to get both sets, it would be about $35. So this set, or this combination build, has two parts. It's got this rocket here, and it's got a little drilling thing. It comes with 3 minifigures, three power miners and 2 rock monsters. 2 power miners and rock monster, and 1 rock monster is from the Thunder Driller, and 1 rock monster and 1 power miner is from the Granite Grinder. This thing is one of 3 combination builds. You can see the Aero Shredder is up here. Then we also have this one, and we also have this one. And I already have a review of this build on the channel, so I'll link that in the description. And I will also link the build instructions for this combination build in the instructions because it is pretty hard to find. The minifigures we're not really going to take a look at because they're the same as what comes in the sets, of course. But you get technically a blue and an orange rock monster. I love the color contrast. You know, these are 2 highly contrasting colors, blue and orange. So that looks good. And I believe it's the same thing with the other 2. Or at least the Cave Crusher, or whatever, the first combination I reviewed that had red and green. Let's take a look at the rocket first. Now, this set, the first combination, I didn't like it because it just was weird. This one is much better. It looks cooler, looks more functional, but at the same time, this is a rocket. It's a flying vehicle for inside of a cave, and it doesn't really make sense either. The second build definitely does make sense, and it actually reminds me of the boulder blaster, but this half is kind of rough in terms of functionality, simply because you're not going to be flying around in a cave. That doesn't really make sense. But this does kind of make sense, as maybe it's dropping the second vehicle into the mine and then lifting off and leaving. Let's start on the back because it is by far my favorite part. I love that they use these big tire pieces as well as the front of the drill, minus the drill, of course. The drill is unfortunately not in this build at all. They could have had it as like the engine, but that kind of doesn't make sense at the same time. So it makes sense what they did here. I love the details here with these like 1.5 long pins and the flame here. Very cool. It's a very awesome look, especially from this angle. Kind of reminds me of like a Star Wars ship. Maybe like a Star Destroyer or something with the 3 massive engines on the back. Really cool. There is a small gap in between the body of the ship and this engine, and that is because of the pin that they used to connect this. This is very simply able to be removed, just like that. You don't need to remove it unless you're taking it apart, of course. And then on the side are 2 like side thrusters, if you want to call them that. They take up the the big wheels from the Thunder Driller, which is very cool. They also have these kind of in the center, and these are the gas tanks from the Granite Grinder used, I don't know, maybe for missiles or something. You can have them be whatever you want, but they do have the stickers because they are from that set. They don't recommend that you take off the stickers, which is a good idea. I think just this piece here is loose. It's not a problem with the build. You get the two big lights here. Lights are a very common thing in these power miner sets, and that makes sense because they're in the dark mines. And then as you move up to the middle and the front, I feel like the build kind of falls apart. You get these big panel Technic pieces that are just sticking out on the side, and it doesn't really make sense as to why they are there. Also, the sticker is on the other side, which doesn't really matter. The cockpit has the same kind of wonky design of a cage, just like the Thunder Driller has with the ladder pieces. It doesn't use that like actual cage piece. It just uses this ladder thing, which can be moved around a lot. It's just, I don't really like it. Then we have the pilot here, and the control sticks are kind of shoved in their face. You can like point it down kind of and try to fiddle around with these levers so that the pilot is actually holding them, but it's kind of too complicated. And that is on a little swivelly control panel there. Then you also get these two sticks which are able to be moved, and I would say these are just locks for the cage, because it doesn't make sense for them to be control sticks because you have two here already, and also there's no way that the pilot can reach them. That is the cage, and it's kind of funny because he's sitting in the back of the Granite Grinder. I love the use of that part. So that's a nice little protective thing, and I also just realized I like that they were able to make it all orange, so it kind of contrasts with the rest of the build, which is really nice. You do get a kind of out of place sticker here. The old control panel for the Granite Grinder is just sitting over here, but that's fine. And then you have one of the side things, the fuel tanks off the side of the Thunder Driller as the front here. And it's kind of like half connected. You can see it can't be pushed any further in, so it's kind of just stuck here. So that is the front of the Aero Shredder. And then at the bottom, you have these two chains which are used to carry the bottom half of the Aero Shredder. There's not really names for each vehicle. It's just Aero Shredder for both of them. So let's take a look at that second vehicle. Here it is, and it really reminds me of the Boulder Blaster. For some reason, I don't know why. So you get the two big tires in the front as kind of a rock grinder. I think this looks really cool. I remember they used a similar technique in, I believe, the Turbo Shredder from Lego Ninjago. They had wheels like this, which is really cool. I love that they can combine like that. It looks awesome. Get some gears. These are able to be turned, but they don't actually turn the wheel. You have to push it forward for the big wheels to turn. And then you get the side treads, which look pretty neat on the side there. Moving up, we have the cockpit, and the cage here has got a light on top, which looks cool. I really like that. The only problem with this, I would say it's kind of obvious, is that the cage gets hit on the steering wheel. So it doesn't go all the way. Well, maybe it could have fit there if they had different pieces, but of course they were limited to the pieces of the two sets, so it makes sense why they had to make some compromises. Of course, this isn't an official Lego set designed to be sold. This is just a fun little combination as an extra, so I think that is totally fine. I love the use of this piece here as a steering wheel. That looks really awesome. Moving into the middle here, we have this the grinder from the Granite Grinder. Unfortunately, it does not move back and forth. It is static here. It does not move unless, of course, you move it like that. It does not go back and forth or anything, but again, that makes sense as to why that would happen. And then on the left of it here is actually a really cool feature, and that is a TNT launcher or dynamite launcher. So it uses the rubber band from the Granite Grinder to create a projectile launching mechanism here, and I think that looks really awesome. So you get the dynamite from Granite Grinder and you throw it in the little bucket, and then you can launch it, and it goes pretty far. It's really powerful, and I love the use of this rubber band. Now you also get these little pellet things, and I'm not sure if you're supposed to use them as kind of like a cannonball or something, where you put that in there and then you can launch that. Or maybe it might mess up the build, as you just saw there. It kind of got stuck down here. So maybe it is supposed to be used as something. Yeah, it seems like it actually is supposed to just stay there, but maybe if you want to remove some of these and use them as kind of like cannonballs or something, I think that would be a pretty cool idea. And then in the back here, we have a little engine. You have the turbocharger here, and then two little exhausts. And that is basically it. I guess the last thing to see would be how these things kind of connect. And that is simply by taking the top of the Aero Shredder and having it hook on to the big granite grinding thing on the top here. So you're going to pick that up like so. It's not very, I guess, depending on where you hold it, it can be level or go crazy. But you know, if you start swinging in it, maybe that's not the best idea. But yeah, that is how it is able to be attached, just by hanging on right here. So overall, I think this combination is definitely better than the first one. I haven't built the third and final one yet, so we'll have to see. But this is definitely in the lead with, I believe it was called like the Cave Crusher or something, whereas the first combination is in dead last. First loser. Yeah, I think this is a really awesome build. Of course, it doesn't really fit power miners, or at least half of it doesn't. This one definitely does fit the power miners theme. This one, not so much. But I still think it's a really awesome build. Is it worth buying another Thunder Driller and another Granite Grinder to get this? I would say, I mean, if you have the extra money, might as well. I think this is a really awesome build, especially this. This definitely will fit into the rest of the builds. This one might not as much, unless you're able to like suspend it on your display. But maybe, I mean, if you really like the flyingness of this ship, then I would say go for it. Get it. Get an extra copy of each of the Thunder Driller and Granite Grinder to get this combination build. But if you're not so into the flying like I am, then I don't think I'm gonna get a second copy. I might get a second copy of the third one, depending on how that one works, because that is an actual decent looking build, but I haven't reviewed that, so we'll have to I'll have to look at it in that review. But this is the end of this review. If you did enjoy this video, maybe consider hitting that like button. And if you've enjoyed the rest of my videos, maybe consider subscribing. And I'll see you in another video. Peace out.